warm welcome, Dr. Professor Mishra. Thank you for giving us this opportunity for the entire Medtronic team to come and represent the entire Medtronic here and not just the cardiology division. Thanks for the real warm welcome. I'm here joined by my colleagues Musarat, Raman and Piyush. They're all kind of experts into cardiology, I would say. And my background a little bit was shared. I've been a hospital administrator myself, been with Medtronic for the last 4 years. I kind of work at creating long-term partnerships, and that's an opportunity I'm here to today explore. If two great organizations like NIMS and Medtronic can come together. But before we talk about where the opportunities lie, I would like to give a small introduction to what our organization is, what we do, what kind of partnerships are possible, and then let's try to explore through dialogue that where are the common grounds where we can come together, right? I would just run through some slides. If there are any questions, please feel free to pause me. Let's make it a two-way interaction, right? We'll wait for sir to come back. This slide is just to reflect that who's the leader into medical technology. Very humbly and very proudly, we like to call ourselves as the leaders into the medical technology space. A lot of names come across in the hospital segment. A lot of us are aware of all these names, right? But this is just to reflect that we are amongst the leaders among all these big giant companies, right? And this is something which is possible because of our long-term partnerships, long-term investments that we've made into this space. And we are looking forward to even lead the direction of where the health tech industry is headed towards, right? And this is our global CEO, Jeff Martha. And why I'm stressing upon this is because all our even competition look forward to what Medtronic is headed towards, right? And this is just to reflect on some of the key themes in the healthcare technology on which Medtronic is focusing on. And that's where the entire industry is also kind of looking into this direction, right? So a lot of these terminologies do come across, that big data, robotics, connected technology. Yes, we all do talk about it, but we make it happen into action, right? So some of the products, some of the technologies that we are bringing in are all focused towards these themes, wherein we are trying to incorporate as much artificial intelligence, a lot more robotics, right? So we already have about 3 platforms on the robotic side, a lot of connected tech, right? These are the focus areas that Medtronic is focusing on. Just a little background to the organization. I think we are more than 75 years old as an organization. We had a very humble start with our founders developing the first cardiac pacemaker in a garage. From there, it's been a long journey to becoming the world's largest medical technology company. And today, the expanse of our therapies and portfolios is so big that every 2 seconds, every second we touch about 2 lives globally. So that's the reach that we are all very proud of. More than anything else in terms of numbers or revenues, this is what we all live for. This is what our mission that we all get up for, right? Globally, we are present across more than 150 countries. I think the largest focus which helps us to remain as a leader in this space is how much we invest into R&D. I think no technology company, whether we talk about Google's or Microsoft's of the world, they all can't be leaders without a strong investment into R&D. And this is the last year's number of $2.3 billion. This year, we have marked about $2.5 billion, which is amongst the biggest contribution towards R&D by any health tech company, right? So this will also help us to ensure that we are kind of innovating for much more therapies, much more disease areas, and we touch many more lives further in the future, right? Even in India, if I talk about, we are now more than 40 years old as a company. We've had a massive presence across the country, every nook and corner we try and cover. India is such a strong focus market for Medtronic Global that last year itself we've committed towards developing the world's second largest R&D center for Medtronic in India. And we've earmarked about 1,300 crores to be invested here in India just for R&D. Right? So that's the focus that we are trying to bring into India as a market as well. So because we say our portfolio is massive, right? Just to make it simpler to understand where all our therapies and products lie, we kind of, for the ease of understanding, divided into 4 large buckets. Although all our therapies put together can touch upon more than 70 conditions of human body, right? So that's the spans. But largely, if we see, we can divide it into 4 larger categories. Cardiovascular portfolio, sir is very well aware of this portfolio. There's another medical surgical portfolio where right from as basic as a suture to going up to as complex a technology like a surgical robot is what we are into, and a lot more other products like pulse oximeters, electrocauteries, you name anything in the surgical field, we have something to offer there. Another very strong strength area is the neurosciences side. We are kind of globally known as a neurosciences leader as well, whether it's about the enabling technology for neurosurgical practice. Midas Rex is known as a gold standard for any neurosurgeon who would just start practicing in a medical school. Going up to about a stealth station neuronavigation system, to a 3D intraoperative imaging system in the form of OARM, and now even going up to robotics platforms. And again, we have very innovative products on the neurovascular side. Spine, we are actually known to be creating newer products wherein the rest of the market kind of just copies them. That's the kind of products that Medtronic is known to produce in that area. And very path-breaking therapies like deep brain stimulation are something which even Medtronic has been a pioneer in. There are very magical results for patients like Parkinson's, with just if you see that video, you would assume that it's a sci-fi film which is going on. With just a press of a button, the tremors and everything is gone, and the patient is just able to walk smoothly. So that's the power of these therapies that we are talking about. And again, a very strong strength area is on the diabetes side, where we've been again pioneers on the insulin pump side, and there are other products to support on the continuous glucose monitoring. So diabetes again remains a very focused area. So with such a vast portfolio, why do we still say, okay, we need to partner very strongly? I think for a multi-speciality hospital, why it becomes important is not just that we are strong partners at the start of the hospital, but once a hospital is fully functional, our analysis say that with our mix of different kind of products which are into consumables, implants, capital equipments, all the therapy solutions, we can very confidently cater to almost 35 to 40% of the hospital's non-pharma spend, right? So I don't think any other medical company can have such a claim, right? Just because of this sort of a quality products, which can definitely be a part of a reputed organization, and with this sort of a scale can help you gain that efficiency, right? When you work with less number of partners, you are able to bring in more efficiency in your operations. That's what we offer, I think, as a primary district. And then it also gives us an opportunity to invest back into a lot of programs, right? So again, capital equipments at the start of the hospital, a good number of them, from equipping a basic OT to an electrocautery, to going up to about specialized neuro OTs, to even going up to about surgical robotics OTs, everything is there in the portfolio. And of course, in the consumables and implant side, from as basic as stents, cardiac pacemakers, I think even going to about spinal implants, neurovascular coils, and strength retrievers, everything is a part of our portfolio. Some of the very noteworthy technologies, which we are trying to bring almost like for the first time in the Indian market. I've been talking about the surgical robotics platform. This is a space which we all know has been dominated by just one player for the last so many years. We are trying to disrupt that space. It's a very disruptive platform which, along with the capabilities of another gadget which is called digital surgery, is bringing in AI and a lot more other features which promises to address the current barriers into surgical robotics adoption, which essentially is more towards making it much more affordable and much more accessible to more number of patients, because we see the surgical future is more towards robotics, and we are, like I said, is one of our themes, and we are also moving in that direction. Again, on the robotic side, there are two other platforms, one dedicated for spine surgeries. Let me use my pointer here. Yeah, this is a spine surgery robot dedicated to, it's one of the most innovative platforms available in the world. This was originally developed in an innovation lab in Israel, and then we went on to acquire that company and added more capabilities from Medtronic side. This next to it, Stealth Auto Guide, is a robotic platform for cranial surgeries. We've seen a very high volume neurosurgical setups would look at a lot more precision. They currently take advantage of our Stealth Station navigation platform, but this is another level of bringing in accuracy by just adding the robotic guidance. So that's another robotic platform. This particular technology that's called Visualize is something which the entire Indian market is awaiting for. We've still not launched it in India, but we see a lot of patients for cranial tumors actually, going out to the US to get this therapy, because it's completely minimal invasive, MR guided, just laser ablation of the tumor without any surgery. So we plan to bring this in India in the next 1 or 2 years. And again, the depth of the products is deep. You would be hearing about products like a glue therapy to treat varicose veins, which is again a very transformational product. Just in the OPD setup, doctor can avoid doing a surgery of varicose veins. The patient can just be back on his feet in the next 2 to 3 hours. These are the kind of products. Another recent launch which we've had is cryoablation. This is a form of an ablation therapy to treat atrial fibrillation patients. And this is again one of a kind in India. I don't think any other technology provider is able to offer such a solution, which uses cold therapy to treat the atrial fibrillation in a minimal invasive manner. Right. So we can continue to go on and talk about our technologies, products, and therapies, because there is so much to know more about them. There is so much innovative stuff that's going on. But just to keep it brief, I would like to move on to probably talk about, beyond our products, how do we look at partnering with larger organizations like yours? The opportunities are immense, but just to categorize a few and name a few, we put it in 4 buckets. One is probably where we help our partner organizations to actually gain market leadership stance. How do you become more competitive? How do you stand against your other competition hospitals to say that you are ahead of everyone else? So just a few examples in this space. Some of the technologies we try and bring early to our partner hospitals just to bring in that competitiveness. There are certain areas where we work hand in hand to develop centers of excellence because of our learnings from across the globe. What are the current practices? What are the newer practices? What are the patient pathways to follow? In very niche areas, we can go deeper into working together as partners to develop centers of excellence. Some of the examples that probably we have done at a lot of hospitals is a center of excellence for entire neurosciences, center of excellence for heart valve treatments, center of excellence for surgical robotics. These are the areas which are very, very immediate need in our healthcare delivery market, and then we have got the expertise to come together and actually execute it on the ground. Also about bringing in more care pathway optimizations. We do run specialized clinics wherein we bring in some technology, just like in the case of heart failure clinics. We try and help the hospital manage the patient in a much better way, wherein there is a continuous connect with the patient and the discovery of the patient and how the treatment adherence is going on. These are just a few examples in a way where we try and differentiate the hospital with the help of our expertise and technology. The next opportunity that we very clearly see is in terms of capability development. We know healthcare is a space where we rely a lot on our people who are giving these therapies to patients, whether it's the clinician or the non-clinical staff, whether it's the nursing staff. We together come together to upskill everyone to make sure that the best care is given. They are handling the technology in the most optimum manner. And of course, for the implanters and the surgeons, we do run regular programs, whether it's a cadaver program or whether it's virtual learning or any forms of fellowships. We also look at opportunities to probably develop a skill lab, because NIMS happens to be even an educational institute. There are opportunities to even co-develop a skill lab. We'll be happy to probably take a look at an opportunity to invest into such an infrastructure to try and see in the long term, not just the clinicians and the non-clinicians of the hospital, but can we look at engaging practitioners from the other institutes as well to get trained here. So that's another area. The third area is wherein how do we work together to bring in more access and improve the patient experience, right? This is where I think this is a very broad area. We are also open to understanding very specific needs of a particular institute. Some of the institutes we hear is, we need to excel more towards our clinical outcomes. We've been an exclusive partner with an agency that's called ERAS, that stands for Early Recovery After Surgery. It's globally known to set protocols inside a hospital to ensure that they shorten up the length of stay in a hospital and minimize post-op infections and recovery rates. So we've been an exclusive partner. Some institutes, we've actually implemented their protocols to actually see an impact on the ground, right? So that not only helps to improve the outcomes, but overall patient just feels that, okay, this is a world-class place where all these practices are being followed. Again, in this space, the opportunities, like I said, are immense. We could probably look at, what are the on-ground needs of the institution, and then we can even come back with a customized solution around it. The fourth pillar is around, bringing in, when two large organizations can come together, they can unlock a lot of efficiency opportunities, right? We are happy to work in a direct manner without any intermediaries. If we know we are a preferred partner, we are happy to invest into all those logistics, and we've done that in a lot of markets. In fact, for entire cardiology, most of our southern India is serviced directly by Medtronic, just to bring it to light, which is like the only company in this space which have gone ahead and invested so much into ground operations to be able to do that, right? No other company, and that not just helps to bring in efficiency on the ground, but also helps to ensure that we are always ethically right. We're not getting into any shady practices, right? Again, happy to support in terms of service and repairs. There's a very robust team which supports round the clock. There is priority services that can be set up and SLAs that we can agree to. We can even provide a key accounts team to have a very close knit. You don't, because of so many departments and portfolios and all, you can have just a one face to interact with rather than speaking with multiple people. That also helps to streamline a lot of things. And again, in terms of commercial solutions, if you're looking at adopting some of the high-end tech, we can look at alternate models of adoption. We can even look at some very customized commercial solutions if we look at in the form of going ahead in a partnership manner. So that's just a gist of how we partner. Let me just probably take the opportunity to also exhibit a few of the partnerships that we've done probably at other places. Like I've been talking about, probably I am very excited about this platform, and I've mentioned that a lot of times. But this is one area on the surgical robotic side where we've already partnered with 3 or 4 hospitals in India. Why I say it's a partnership, because any robotics platform of this scale is a program in itself, right? And no hospital can just buy a robot and get started with doing robotic surgery. It's a very long-term invested program where we also take a look at that accordingly, and then we support it in a manner where all the different specialities are trained. There's a entire curriculum and dedicated program around it where we certify a particular surgeon to be able to get the optimum results from this platform. And we also invest into driving an overall startup program, because we see hospitals do get such high-end tech, but may not be able to position it in a manner where it's very optimally utilized. So we also put our skin in the game, and we invest into a startup program, and together we make sure that we make it successful, right? And then of course, what sort of an outcome we are getting out of each surgery. We do support registries to see what sort of an outcomes are coming in. If there is something which is either extraordinary or which is underperformance as a product that we're getting, we do also monitor such outcomes as well. Again, an opportunity is on the neurosciences side. Globally, we are so strong into neurosciences that we are actually seen as probably consultants to a lot of hospitals, wherein from as basic as a neurosurgical practice to neuro interventions to even advanced spine in the form of minimal invasive spine surgery. Some of the therapies on spine is something which Medtronic has started, like OLIF and all. We are seen to be as advisors, and there are a few examples in the country, some institutes which are currently known to be doing very well into neurosciences, and we proudly can say at the start of when they conceptualized that Center of Excellence in Neurosciences, we were there as advisors, and we've still been continuing to work together, right? Some of the names like probably Aster Bangalore, Aster Kochi, Artemis, we are known to be working hand in hand with them, not just by supporting with these technologies, which kind of we call it as a neurospine suit, but even in terms of what patient care pathways should be there, in terms of stroke management and some of the spine and DBS for that matter. Again, just keeping it very brief, I just mentioned stroke. Last year, we did a partnership with Apollo Hospitals for dedicatedly managing the stroke, and that's where we are looking at streamlining all the barriers which are there for timely management of stroke patients, whether it's inside the hospital or whether it's before the patient reaches the hospital, because we see a lot of patients miss that golden window of treatment before even reaching the right hospital, right? And the entire patient care pathway is where we work together with a lot of hospitals to streamline it, remove the barriers for the patient to actually get the right treatment in right time. And we've also looked at bringing an artificial intelligence software to be able to make it faster and much more streamlined. So yeah, this is just a glimpse of where we've installed artificial intelligence as an application, but kind of looked at the entire care continuum. The other area which I briefly mentioned was to look at skill lab. These are the 4 areas where we are very confident that we can kind of play a very strong area in case an institution of this repute would be interested to look at developing a skill lab in-house, whether it's on the neurospine side, on the surgical side, on the cardiac side, and on the ENT space. This is an example of a surgical skill lab which we've implemented in one of the hospitals in Bangalore. That's Manipal Hospital, where we together run a skill lab. Not a large space that's required for doing that, but the difference here is that we just don't equip the lab, but we also co-own the calendar to make sure that there are continuous programs, and the actual impact which the lab is supposed to make is actually happening on the ground. Again, I've got multiple examples. This is one case study of setting up a heart failure clinic where we deploy a software on the ground and even a counselor, and then we work on various aspects to see that we don't miss out on the heart failure patients during their treatment journey, and we also make sure that the optimized care and a much more standardized care is given to most of these patients who are discovered inside the hospital. Again, happy to share more details if anybody would be interested in that. Yeah, so like I said, there are too many examples. Rather than getting into details, I would just take a pause here. This is another example on developing a minimal invasive valve replacement clinic, which is focusing more on TAVRs and TAVR. And this is another opportunity area where we would be happy to extend our help. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell of what we do as Medtronic and where does the opportunity lie. Happy to take on any questions if you may have. Thank you so much for this opportunity.